think I've raised this question before. Do you guys believe in the recruiting rankings?
Yes. It's just overall, it you could pick and choose and look at 3-star guys who are awesome and 5-star guys who never
Sure.
played.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
there are
just think
exceptions all.
I
As
just
a,
think as a group
yeah.
talent, yes, I do think that they show a trend of teams that are overall highly ranked are ones that end up in the college football playoff.
So to Dre's point, if you go to not any particular class, but if you go to 247 Sports has a listing of team total rankings, meaning their total talent rankings. So it takes into consideration the entire roster. If you look at the top 6 right now, that's
I would think
the top 6 is the history of the college football playoff. It's I think Alabama's 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson might be 4, LSU, Oklahoma. Those are the teams that have pretty much played like 90-some% of the games in the college football playoff are the top 6 in the talent rankings currently. The other point is that, and I think we're on the same page, Des, when it comes to the recruiting rankings. They're not perfect by any stretch, but man, they're consistent. There's some outliers. Wisconsin plays way above theirs. Texas plays way below theirs. But again, if Texas plays way below theirs. But again, if you go through it, it's especially it's more accurate the higher you get. You've got a lot of like Minnesotas that develop and they take 45 and 50 recruiting classes and make them 8-4, 9-4, pretty good teams that are top 25 teams. But at the top, it's like you've got to have elite talent to play elite football. And this is pretty startling. So if you take Texas A&M's class this year and you look at the point total for the ranking and you compare it to, and I just grabbed a team, Kentucky was 13th. So that's the 13th rated class in the country. Seems like the best class
pretty
Kentucky's ever had. But Kentucky aside, you're still looking at the teams around them, Miami, Notre Dame, the teams around them. You think the 13th rated class is pretty good. The difference between number 1 and 13 is the same difference between number 13 and 75.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how elite the top is.
The top of the top. Ooh.
Ohio State this year's number 4, Michigan's 8. That doesn't seem like a big deal, right? The difference between those two classes, in turn, if you believe in the point totals of those players, the difference is like between 4 and 8 is the same as 8 and 24.
Wow.
Well, because it's about because it's our computed is, okay, so Ohio State's at 4, but they probably have, double. So Michigan may have similar numbers in terms of 3 stars with Ohio State, right? But Ohio State would have a lot more of the 5 and 4-star kids, right? So I think Michigan closes the gap with having a similar number of 3 stars. But it's that gap, that 4 to 8 gap, is those 5-star kids that are choosing Ohio State, and they're the ones that are making that big difference. The Chris Olaves, the different type of speed that historically, at least recently, Michigan has not been able to consistently get. Now with Blake Corum, Sanders Still, Donovan Edwards, they've done a much better job, right? And we're seeing the fruits of that. But I think that's like really the difference. Like when it comes to the cream of the recruiting classes for Ohio State, Michigan, or whatever teams are between 4 and 8, or 1 to 5, or whatever that is. That's what's really making the difference. Those are the guys that we're seeing, and they're actually popping, and they're becoming playmakers. And also, the other side of it is the development side. I mean, Mark would notice more than we would, Desmond, but like I would love to see the hit rate of these 4 or 5-star kids that go to Ohio State, right? Like it always seems like in Michigan, more times than not, our biggest recruits don't quite pan out as we think they should. Compared to Ohio State, you hear about, like I'm almost 100% sure that Marvin Harrison Jr. will be an elite receiver. He'll be a very good receiver. I don't think he's going to underperform, like, because you see it over and over again. So, that's also a part of it as well.
Yeah, that development definitely plays a part in it. I just, like I said, when I look at the teams who are highly ranked, they have the QBs, they have the play callers, the signal callers, and they have guys who are special. And by all accounts, it looks like JJ will be that. So we'll see what happens there. I was trying to look a couple of the questions
while you
there,
look for
but
a question, Des, I'm going to shove a little bit more math down your throats. So I went to the team
Go ahead.
total rankings. I went to the talent rankings for the entire team, not a recruiting class that I referenced earlier. So Bama and Georgia are in a dead heat at 1,001 points on the current rosters, on the 21 rosters. So not going into 22, but the teams we just saw. Georgia, Bama, number 1 and 2, but they might as well both be tied for 1,001 points. Ohio State, number 3 at 986. Michigan's 15th at 833. So if you take that gap between 986 and 833, that's 150 points, 153. You drop that from Michigan's, you got Pitt at 36.
that's a big difference.
But to Michigan's credit, they won the football game this year.
Yeah, that's true. That
How
is
much
true.
did it pain you to say that, Mark? Is it getting easier now when you have to say that and have to, regurgitate that talking point that Michigan won last fall?
Does it get easier? I
Does it
threw
get
that in
easier?
for you, Dre. I didn't have to say that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Like
I could have
it's,
said that, and that's one of the reasons why Ohio State's won 16 of the last 18. I
yeah,
could have
yeah.
spun it that way.
And
He
look,
didn't say that. Right. Keep that in mind. I
no.
didn't say that.
No. And look, Ohio State fans are happier that Harbaugh's coming back than we were at Michigan. They can't wait to get him to Columbus. There were a lot of people that were like, "Oh yeah, of course you leave before we get you back at C-Bus."
Well, what's funny about that? Yeah, we had all sorts of Ohio State fans jumping in. Yeah, we can't wait to get Hop. Exactly. They were saying the exact thing. But people talk like they're actually coaching and playing these games. Like they have control over it. We can't wait to get him down. Okay, well, they're going to coach and lift weights and run and prepare for the games too at Michigan. So, and you have no control over this. So we'll see. We will see.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the SEC versus Big Ten, and that the SEC is overrated. And it's interesting. I think
It's a
overall,
whole
most of these
rivalry, sure.
conferences are pretty even. I would say it's just the difference is the cream at the top of the conferences
Yes.
is really the difference. If you say SEC top to bottom, it's probably pretty similar to the Big Ten top to bottom. It's just those teams at the very, very top is the difference. That's pretty much it, I would say. And
Sure. I mean, yes, you could put. See if I wonder if you agree with me. You could put Penn State, Michigan. I won't put Ohio State because we'll say that they're the cream of the Big Ten. So I'll pick that second tier. Penn State, Michigan, MSU, when they're really running well. You could put them in the SEC. And would you agree that they would be the third or fourth best team in the conference? I would. I'll say
Penn
besides
State?
Georgia. Let's say Penn State. Let's say Penn State, for example. You
Okay.
put Penn State in the SEC, and I'm not counting LSU. I think LSU is going through a change. We'll see what Kelly can do. And I'm just we'll see. He's doing music videos and trying to change things up there, but we'll see. But outside of Bama and Georgia, I say Penn State's the third or fourth best team in the conference for year after year based on the way they recruit and consistency. I'll take Penn State over. I'll take them over Kentucky. I'll take them over, head to head, right? I think head to head on most years, I think Penn State would beat Auburn. I think it'd be pretty close. I think head to head, Penn State would be definitely Vanderbilt. I think head to head, they'll be. Well, I take the back. You got Texas A&M. I don't know. Maybe it's close, but I think Penn State.
I think their battle's going to be, you know, Bama and Georgia are clearly 1-2, 2-1, however you want to put it. I think Penn State's
Yeah.
probably going to have to battle with today's Arkansas and Texas A&M. That I think that's probably going to be the hierarchy. If you can go out and beat those teams, great. But I also saw Penn State lose to Iowa, who I didn't think was very good, this year. So that's where it's at. But yeah, it
Corey
wouldn't be
wouldn't like
much
you
different than
saying
the Big
that.
Ten. What'd you say?
Yeah. So Corey wouldn't like you saying that. Just saying. You better leave that alone.
I mean, I just feel like they weren't that good. I'm sorry. But yeah, the difference is the cream. That's it. Other than that, it's the conferences are pretty similar. I mean, you put Texas A&M in the Big Ten, they're probably going to be third or
I don't
fourth
want to see
team.
Texas A&M now. I don't want to see Texas A&M now.
Well, I mean,
Based on the way
all
it
those
was
guys got to get on the field. It takes time, for them to get on the field. But
I know. If this is a precursor of what's to come for Jimbo Fisher, I know y'all can stay. Y'all can stay down there. I want no part of that.